Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Down by Contact DBC Football Podcast, episode number 19. I am here, as always, with my co-host and friend, Tom. Tom, how are we?
I'm pretty good today. Pretty good. How are you?
I am fantastic. It is football week, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, I'm going to be nice to you.
One more day.
One more day. We typically record on Tuesdays, but extenuating circumstances have us recording on Wednesday this week, and we couldn't be more excited to bring you football glory.
It's nice. It's nice.
Yes, sir. Bill can't join us today. He sends his best. Bill, good luck in your fantasy draft tonight, and I hope all of your players get injured. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DBC_football. Check us out on YouTube, DBC Football, or on the web at www.dbcfootball.com. Blog and photo galleries. The blog will be back up and running effective Thursday, September 7th. So I'll be posting a lot of the things we talk about tonight. I want to thank you for joining us. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher, and make sure to tell your friends to check us out as well. We'll give you mostly good fantasy advice, and you'll hear me make fun of Tom. But not today. Not today, Tom. I'm in a great mood.
It's good.
What do you think, Tom? You ready for football?
Man, I've been ready since like February 8th or whenever the day after the Super Bowl was.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. I mean, not only is it NFL football is back, but also college football. So if you're a college football fan, I'm rooting for you here, and we'll talk a little college football at the end of the show here. Oh, excuse me there. All right, let's kick it off with news around the NFL. First and foremost, Zeke Elliott, his suspension has been upheld by the NFL, and it looks like that even the arbitrator won't, give the NFLPA the power to stay the suspension. However, Zeke has been granted the ability to play in Week 1, which of course he will take advantage of. Tom, the resident Cowboys fan, how does that make you feel?
I feel like it's kind of useless, just one game.
Yeah. If you're going to be suspended for 6, why not just get it out of the way, right?
It'd be nice to try to, extra help to try to finally get that win over the Giants with Dak at quarterback. So.
Oh, there you go. Well, Dak is 0-2 against the Giants.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Yep, Dak 0-2. All right. Tampa Bay at Miami has been rescheduled to Week 11 thanks to Hurricane Irma. Screw you, Irma.
Oh, yeah.
This is a big blow to fantasy football owners of Mike Evans, Devontae Parker, and players of the like. Now, of course, obviously this is a good thing by the NFL to make sure that players are safe. Mm-hmm. So we're not taking away anything from that, but it is really, player safety is the number one concern. So they're not playing this week, but then they have to play 16 consecutive games. So really keep an eye on your Dolphins and your Bucks to see how the players handle 16 consecutive games.
See if they get a little tired.
I'm sure they will, especially if there's some Thursday nights mixed in there. Mm-hmm. Hey, Joe Flacco is good to go.
Elite Joe Flacco?
Elite Joe Flacco is good to go. That back injury is all healed up. He's out practicing. He will play Week 1, but they will probably lose. Odell Beckham Jr. and Brandon Marshall are both questionable for Week 1's game against the Cowboys. OBJ is still milking that injury that he didn't even sustain in the preseason Week 3 against the Browns. I expect him fully to play, and Brandon Marshall has confirmed that he himself will play. Of the two, I actually like Brandon Marshall as the better play, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. What do you think, Tom? You afraid of the dynamic duo out there in Gotham?
Not really, because they don't really have much of a running game, so their offense is a little one-sided. So
sleeping on Paul Perkins over there.
Everyone is.
Mm-hmm. Drafted him in 2 leagues.
He hasn't shown much in the preseason.
That's true.
So.
Less than 4 yards a carry.
They're definitely great players, but I think it makes it slightly easier when they pretty much need to throw the football.
Yeah. Speaking of running games, the Houston Texans left tackle Dwayne Brown will not play Week 1 as he is still holding out, which, side note, holdouts never work.
Except unless you're Emmitt Smith.
Unless you're Emmitt Smith. Wow, there you're taking it
Darrelle
back.
Revis,
yeah, he... Wow.
Did it like 4 years in a row.
Yeah. Other news of players out Week 1. Ryan Kelly, the center for the Indianapolis Colts, will not play Week 1. Neither will Vontae Davis, who we reported a week or two ago that had that serious groin injury that should actually keep him out for about a month. And, of course, he has been activated off the PUP, but he will not play in Week 1. Andrew Luck, making Scott Tolzien your starter in Indy. I'm sorry, Colts fans.
There's one loss for you right there.
Hey, Tolzien, that job offer is still there. You can be our stats guy. I like my coffee with a little bit of hazelnut. Mitch Trubisky has been named the QB2 in Chicago, which I think is only a matter of time until he is named the starter, provided Mike Glennon comes out and plays like Mike Glennon. What do you think, Tom?
I mean, he's obviously better than Mark Sanchez.
And you know what? I will bite my tongue currently that Trubisky has looked like the best rookie quarterback so far out of this class. Granted, it's only one preseason. Yeah. But still, I said a lot of mean things about Mitchell Trubisky. And I almost apologize for it.
I mean, he definitely, coming out of draft, you knew he had all the skill you needed. You know, he had the arm talent.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
It was more just, everything based off decision-making, just with his lack of experience.
But it's looked pretty good.
Yeah.
In positive news, while Hurricane Irma is bearing down on the state of Florida, Hurricane Harvey beat up the state of Texas. J.J. Watt raised over $27 million for Harvey relief.
It's crazy.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. So congrats to Watt. I mean, that's awesome. The guy will be remembered for all of the great things he has done for the Houston area.
Pretty sure it wasn't his starting goal only like $4 million or something.
Yeah. And then it kept raising. It was the headline at NFL.com, and the number just kept getting higher, and he's up over $27 million. So that's awesome. It's great to see positive stories like that. Obviously, we don't want to see things like a hurricane bear down and beat up an area like Houston, a heavily populated area. Not that you want to see in any area, but a lot of lives are affected, and J.J. Watt doing something awesome for his community.
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy. Sean McDermott, head coach of the Buffalo Bills, has come out and said that LaShawn McCoy will play every single snap if he has to. Buy or sell, Tom?
I buy it, but I don't think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously not really like a big back, so
yeah,
way too many blows.
Interestingly enough, LaShawn McCoy actually had his highest yards per carry in his career last year. That is only going to go down. They have no weapons in Buffalo, and Tyrod has looked the opposite of great in the preseason. And I don't know. I feel bad for Shady. I still have a lot of love for Shady, obviously being an Eagles fan, but we shall see what bears down in Buffalo. I think it's a terrible idea.
It is.
Speaking of which, Tyrod Taylor is out of the concussion protocol and is expected to start in Week 1, which is a positive for the tanking Buffalo Bills. Philip Dorsett was traded for New England quarterback Jacoby Brissett, third-string quarterback, and Philip Dorsett came out and said he's not even concerned about learning the Patriots playbook. It's nothing. What do you think, Tom?
I mean, they've always... I think he's wrong.
Yeah, I think he's wrong. I mean, I remember Chad Ochocinco literally couldn't learn the playbook.
And he was one of the best receivers of, early mid-2000s.
Yeah, man. So, Philip Dorsett, I think you're getting ahead of yourself.
Like, dude, you can't even learn the Colts offense. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's being a little overzealous. So, Philip Dorsett, calm down. And I just want to throw it out there as fantasy advice. Don't go draft Philip Dorsett. He shouldn't matter. Aaron Donald is likely out Week 1 as he, too, is holding out. Holdouts don't work. I mean, Aaron Donald was going to get paid no matter what. But now he's just, like, tarnishing what the fans think of him at this point, right? I mean, it's business. Get back to football. I drafted that defense. Jets have re-signed wide receiver recently cut by the 49ers, Jeremy Curley, reuniting the greatest Jets receiver. Oh, wait, no, that's a complete lie. The Bills have cut/waived, probably the more accurate term, Jonathan Williams, the backup running back. So they are completely tanking. They said screw it. He was actually claimed by the Broncos.
Practice squad.
Yeah. John Ross also out Week 1, likely to miss multiple games. The fastest human in the league, soft tissue guy. It was actually a knee injury for him. TJ Ward was dropped by the Broncos, and he landed a 1-year deal with the Bucs. I love what that brings to Tampa Bay's secondary. Tom, I think you have an opinion on what that does for the Broncos secondary.
I mean, it obviously takes away one of their biggest leaders on defense. I mean, the other guys might have,
Justin Simmons.
They might, obviously they're younger, so they, might be a little more quicker and everything like that. But I mean, he's one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league, and sometimes you just need a big hit to really set the tone.
Yeah. He's a player in the mold of Brian Dawkins and John Lynch. Obviously not as good as those guys, so don't mistake what I'm saying for that. But he's a lot of fun to watch, right? He played in football purgatory for a few years in Cleveland, and made his way to Denver and won a Super Bowl. So good for T.J. Ward, and I hope he brings that leadership to the Buccaneers defense. The Colts have claimed failed Project Matt Jones, the fumbling machine from the Washington Redskins. I love this pickup for the Colts. I mean, you're talking about Frank Gore is 733 years old. He is no longer the inconvenient truth. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But I love the possibility of a Matt Jones, Marlon Mack backfield. You got a 6'2", dynamic running back in Matt Jones if he can learn how to hold on to the ball. And
It's a big if.
as Tiki Barber proved, that is something that can be fixed.
It can.
So I really like the possibility of probably next year. I mean, for all I know, Matt Jones won't even be on the team next year, but I like the possibility there.
Yeah.
Brock Osweiler has re-signed with the Denver Broncos on a one-year deal. The guy's making money. That guy has made a lot of money for a terrible player.
He's done very little.
Yeah.
Earned a lot.
Yeah, so not only is he making $16 million guaranteed from Cleveland, he got something close to $2 million from the Broncos for 1 year of work. How? That guy's made a lot of cash.
He's not he hasn't even shown really
Yeah.
that he could be a good player.
Even
He's
in
been
those
average.
7 starts with Denver, he won a game against the New England Patriots in Denver with the best defense in the league.
At best, he was slightly above average in some games.
Yeah, it's unreal to me. I mean, what do I got to do to make that money?
Yeah, right. I can throw a football too.
Got to be better than Brock Osweiler. The Cowboys have traded for Bené Benwickery from the Cincinnati Bengals for a late-round draft pick. It's never a good sign when you're trading for a starting corner at the end of the preseason. I believe the Cowboys secondary will be, and I quote, trash.
I'm not sure if he'll take and be a starter, but I think they more wanted some depth with somebody who has experience in the NFL.
Yeah. There's a really good, actually, solid kudos on that positive spin. That was impressive. That actually was. That was impressive.
I mean, it was I'm pretty sure, what was it? It was a conditional 6th-round pick, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think he has to be dressed for 4 games or something like that,
Yeah.
and they get the pick.
They'll get the pick.
Yeah.
A couple other garbage trades. The Browns went ahead and got Sammy Coates from the Steelers, and the Seahawks sent off Tremaine Brock to the
You
Vikings.
forgot the other Cowboys trade.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Jaron Elliott.
Oh, Jaron Elliott from the Packers.
Yeah. Conditional 7th-round pick.
That didn't even make my list. Willie Snead has been suspended 4 games by the NFL, which was later reduced to 3 games on appeal for the substance abuse policies. The rumor is that it was for a DUI. So, really surprised that stayed under wraps all offseason.
It was really
Who knew?
Under wraps when it came out.
Yeah.
It wasn't really huge news. It was just kind of it was said, and that was
Yeah,
it.
it was like, hey, by the way, Willie Snead's out 3 games. Doesn't matter. Martavis Bryant has been cleared by the NFL, no longer suspended. He's back. Stop smoking pot, Martavis Bryant. That is all. And last but certainly not least on the news around the NFL, a bit of a blockbuster trade. The Seattle Seahawks have acquired defensive lineman / tackle Sheldon Richardson for Jermaine Kearse, the
2
barn
picks, I
burner
believe.
he is, and a second-round pick. The teams also swapped 7th-round selections of this year's upcoming NFL draft. What does the addition of Sheldon Richardson mean for the Seattle Seahawks?
I mean, obviously adds another very good player to their front 7. Obviously, the Jets kind of want to rid their hand of him. He's been kind of a
he's still
nuisance
feuding
the
with
last
Brandon
couple
Marshall,
years.
and
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall's not even responding.
Yeah.
He's carrying both sides of that argument.
He's just been kind of a nuisance the last couple of years. So Seahawks get a player that kind of needs a change of scenery, and the Jets get rid of or get something for somebody they're trying to get rid of.
So you look at the Jets. They're probably going to get the first overall pick next year.
Them are the Bills.
Fingers crossed for them that Sam Darnold comes out in the draft. In their minds, they probably get their franchise quarterback, and then they have 2 second-round picks to add talent to a barren wasteland. And then they continue to build on the draft they had this past year, where they added Marcus May and safety Jamal Williams.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May. That's right. That just happened. All right, Tom.
All right.
The NFL season is upon us.
It is.
We are back to football.
It's nice.
It's here. Are you excited?
Real football, not just preseason football, which is nice after.
All I need is one clap.
Preseason football is nice after what is it?
Oh yeah, after the lull. Yeah.
5 months or whatever.
Yeah. But then once you get to like by the end of week 3 of the preseason, you're just like, oh my god, get this crap off the TV.
I said like halftime of week 3. Yeah, that's when all the starters.
Right. You're like, all right, we're done with this. This is enough.
Just give us real football.
Give us real football. We want to watch the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen at all this year.
You guys have one good year in the past 20.
I don't think that's accurate.
All right, 2.
I think it's been like 3 or 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anywho. So with that, one of the main segments that we will run is the predictions segment, where each of us will pick our game winners for each upcoming week of the NFL season. We will keep tally. And the worst of the 3 of us, that's myself, Dylan, Tom, and Bill, the worst of us will perform some type of humiliating task at the end of the year. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Tom.
Really?
Yes. Bill is going to phone his picks in this week, but I will post those on the website, and I will keep tabs on everyone's win-loss record throughout the season, and speak to that each week. So without any further ado, Thomas will now give his week 1 of the 2017 NFL season game picks. Tom, who do you have? Take it away.
Just throw out the winners.
No, you can say who's playing.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
First game of the season, obviously, Chiefs-Patriots. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. Jets-Bills, two of the worst teams in the league, but I'm gonna give the upper hand to the Bills. Jaguars-Texans, going to be a defensive battle. I'm going to give the little side with the Jaguars a little bit on that one.
I'm pretty sure that was just for Jake.
It might have been. Like subliminally, like maybe, or subconsciously.
Jake, the Jags fan.
Steelers-Browns. Steelers. I don't really
Come on,
explain
take the Browns.
Not yet. I want to actually see Kaiser first.
Fine.
I'm high on him, but maybe week 17 when they play again, I'll take the Browns. Cardinals, Lions. I got the Cardinals.
Oh, Matty Stafford. Come on.
That game is not happening this week. Falcons, Bears. I got the Falcons. They're obviously, have a more complete team than the Bears.
Do they?
They do. Especially with Mike Glennon at quarterback.
That is good to know.
Raiders, Titans. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm going to give it to the Raiders, though. Ravens, Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals, and they're a 3-headed monster at running back. Eagles, Redskins. Make you happy, I'll go with the Eagles on that one.
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. No? No? I was waiting for you to join. If Bill was here, he would have sang with me.
It's been noted in our podcast that the Redskins just have looked a little off.
Yeah, they've looked awful.
I was trying to be nice. Colts, Rams. The Colts are a mess without Andrew Luck at quarterback, so I'm going to give it to the Rams, even without Aaron Donald. Panthers, 49ers. Panthers just look like the better team right now. Who knows how Brian Hoyer is going to look.
B-Hoy.
That Mike not Mike.
Kyle
Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan.
That one.
The head coach of the San Francisco 49ers.
Seahawks.
That's that team.
Seahawks, Packers. They seem to play pretty good games every year.
Yeah, Hail Mary.
Packers, I have them taking this edition. Giants, Cowboys. You're going to notice a theme. I'm going to go with the Cowboys every single week.
Will you really? There's not a week you'll pick against the Cowboys?
Not one week.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I hope that leads to your humiliation.
It happens. Saints, Vikings. I'm going to go with the better defense here and give it to the Vikings.
Yeah.
And
don't sleep on Alex Anzalone of the Saints, linebacker. Heard it here first. Florida alum.
And final game of the week, Chargers, Broncos. I'm going to give it to the Chargers. I like their quarterback situation a little bit more than I like Denver's. Plus, as we mentioned, the loss of T.J. Ward, I think is going to be a lot bigger than...
Wow, you're really taking this T.J. Ward loss hard.
Right? There was no fly zone, and he was part of it.
All right, well, there you heard Tom's incorrect Week 1 predictions, except for 3 games. They're all correct except for 3 games.
What are you going to do if every single game is right?
Well, we have all the same picks, apparently, except for 3 games. So I'll run through the correct predictions now.
Let's see.
The Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to give the Bengals the nod at home. I think while he'll start slow, Joe Mixon gets really involved and shows that dynamic ability. A.J. Green also should have a monster game against the Ravens secondary, as they're more of an in-the-box type of team than a coverage team. Pittsburgh Steelers at Cleveland Browns. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Hayden revenge game. Sammy Coates gets no revenge.
I picked up. I drafted the Steelers defense. Added two solid secondary players in the last week.
They did. They added J.J. Wilcox for the Buccaneers.
Which is nice because I had him in our one league, and he wasn't going to play this week because if he was on the Buccaneers still.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
That's actually a solid low-key pickup. The Oakland Raiders versus the Tennessee Titans. I think this was the game that I struggled with the most. And these are my favorite two young quarterbacks in the NFL right now, outside of Carson Wentz. So I'm gonna give the nod to the Raiders, but I think the Titans could pull off the win at home, depending on how that Titans D plays. Adoree Jackson's gonna have to really play out and play better than he did in the preseason. Maybe if they get a special teams score for Tennessee, they pull off the victory. But I do like Oakland to pull this game out, and I think DeAndre Washington will be your leading rusher of that game.
Marshawn Lynch.
Philadelphia Eagles at Washington Redskins. You don't really have to ask me that question. I actually truly love the Eagles in this game. Still on the fence about whether or not I should go to the game, but give me the Philly Eagles.
Philly Eagles.
The New York Jets, excuse for a football team, versus the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Bills handedly. LaShawn McCoy, 2 touchdowns. Atlanta Falcons at Chicago Bears. Atlanta Falcons, no Super Bowl hangover in Week 1. Dan Quinn has a really good thing going on down there in hot Atlanta. Falcons by at least 2 scores. Super Bowl ring. Arizona Cardinals at the Detroit Lions. While my heart really wants me to pick the Detroit Lions because I have some love for Matt Stafford as a gunslinger, I just can't. With the Honey Badger back and that defense really back, and Hassan Reddick has looked really good. Give me the Arizona Cardinals, but I do think the Lions could eke out that game. Matt Stafford has the most fourth quarter comebacks since he joined the league, and hit a record-breaking 7 alone last season. Not to sleep on Derek Carr's 6. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. I think this will be a defensive battle, as you alluded to. However, I do think the Texans are just a better football team. So give me the Texans. We'll differ there. Give me the Texans at home. I feel like I picked too many away teams for this week. The Indianapolis Colts at the Rams. No Ryan Kelly on the O-line. No Andrew Luck. No Vontae Davis. I mean, your best offensive and defensive player are out of the game, and your 4th best offensive player as well. I know the Rams, Sean McVay, youngest coach in the league. I believe he's 31. But, give me the Rams at home, air quotes, in the Coliseum. Plus, I drafted Todd Gurley. Seattle Seahawks at Green Bay Packers. This should be a really good game. I completely advise you to stay away from the mess of a backfield that's going on in Seattle from a fantasy perspective. I think Thomas Rawls comes out with that job whenever he comes back healthy. But give me Aaron Rodgers and the Packers at home. Go Cheeseheads. Carolina Panthers at San Francisco 49ers. Reuben Foster has looked incredible in the preseason, but give me the Carolina Panthers as just a far better team. While the San Francisco 49ers have acquired a lot of talent on that defense, Hoyer to Garcon just doesn't really ignite my flame.
Marquise Lee. Or no.
Keith Lee, you're right.
No, Goodwin.
Oh, Goodwin, that's right. Lee is the Jag. Yeah. Whatever. I do like Goodwin as a sleeper this season. He could play the Taylor Gabriel role. Mm-hmm. The New York Football Giants, formerly the Titans, versus the Dallas Cowboys. They were originally the New York Titans. Look of confusion there. Sunday Night Football. Give me the terrible, crappy intro song, and give me the New York Football Giants.
So it's fine.
Whatever. The Giants were 2-0 against the Cowboys last season, and they were one of 2 teams to be able to stymie Zeke Elliott. The other being Philadelphia.
Still wrong.
Yeah, well, I didn't say all that. Monday Night Football doubleheader. We've got the Saints at the Vikings. Give me the Vikings at home with the better defense. Sam Bradford will complete over 70% of his passes. And don't sleep on Adam Thielen, who quietly outplayed Steph Diggs last year and has moved into the slot officially for this season. I really like Thielen as an 80-plus catch receiver this year, and to completely outplay his draft position. And then you have the Chargers at the Broncos as the late Monday Night Football doubleheader game. I'm going to take the Broncos at home. I know they've lost Wade Phillips, TJ Ward, some things going on. Trevor Siemian is the starting quarterback, and he puts fear in the heart of no one. But Phillip Rivers has just continually struggled against the Denver Broncos in his career, and he throws a lot of picks against them. So Chris Harris Jr. is still there on the outside. I also drafted him. So go Bronx. And then I saved the this game for last, the season kickoff game, the Chiefs at the Patriots, the Super Bowl game. The Patriots don't lose those games. As much as I want the Chiefs to win, Alex Smith versus Tom Brady will never be Alex Smith's ball game. Andy Reid versus Belichick will never be Andy Reid's ball game. Ask the 04 Eagles.
Did you see what... Who's the guy, he played fullback. He was on the Saints for a while and the Patriots. He worked for
Heath
NFL.
Evans.
Yeah, they did it like a team-by-team comparison of the Chiefs and Patriots. He had the Chiefs having the better head coach. Because you know how they do like head coach, quarterback, running back, you know.
I did not see that, but my jaw is on the floor right now.
He literally put...
Well, to be fair, I mean, Big Red is literally probably the third best coach of my generation.
Who's the first?
Bill Belichick.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know. Apparently he's bitter about getting cut.
Apparently something.
Heath Evans isn't really known to be the brains of NFL Network.
I am not a fan of him.
Yeah. He's really strong. There's that. No, I would avoid Kareem Hunt in this game, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I do like the Patriots to win. I think it'll be a close game. But at the end of the day, it's Tom Brady. It's the New England Patriots at home. They're going to unveil their 5th Super Bowl banner. It's going to be a grand event. I remember one year they hosted Oakland after winning a Super Bowl, and that was just a complete, demolishing Randy Moss's first game as a Raider. And I don't know. I just don't see the Patriots losing that game.
If Tom Brady can get a win this week, he actually ties Peyton Manning for the most opening game wins.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for you, Brady. I feel like he's going to get that.
Probably.
And then, of course, the 16th game of the week is the Bucks at the Dolphins, which has, as we said earlier, been moved to Week 11 due to Hurricane Irma. So that, there you have it. There are the winning predictions versus what Tom gave you. He gave you 3 wrong answers.
We'll see.
And like I said, we'll keep track of our scores, and one of us will be humiliated at season's end. I look forward to devising a punishment for Tom. If you've seen the league, I think a costume is at play here. That's all I'll say. Anyhow, our next segment, name that! Exclamation point. A little trivia game devised by the DBC Football Podcast.
Trying to find it on my tabs here.
Each week, I will ask Tom and Bill trivia questions. The first person to get to 3 or the higher scorer of the 2 will be awarded 1 point for the week. At the end of the season, the loser will be humiliated. Do you sense a theme here?
Mm-hmm. Humiliation.
Yeah, we like to humiliate each other. So this week, Bill is not here, so Tom has the opportunity to win the week's point.
Mm-hmm.
And the subject of this week is 2017 starting quarterbacks. So players who were named
week 1?
Starting quarterbacks as of week 1 of this season. And Tom, we didn't review this in pre-production. Tom has no idea what these trivia questions are. And I'm really
starting quarterbacks.
He just knows that's about starting quarterbacks. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Tom 5 questions. And in the spirit of being fair, since Bill is not here, Tom has to get 3 of the 5 questions correct to receive this week's point. If he does not, he gets no point.
No point.
And then he and Bill are tied going into week 2. So without any further ado, let's kick off. Name that! Exclamation point. Question number 1. In 2005, Tyler Palko beat me for the quarterback 1 job at Pittsburgh University. You have 5 seconds on the clock.
5 seconds, that's it?
They're long seconds.
I don't know college.
Tom, there were 32 starters in the league. You wouldn't even just guess?
I couldn't go through the 32 in 5 seconds.
Did you have a guess? Throw a name out there.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith is not the correct answer. The answer we were looking for is Joe Flacco. In 2005, Tyler Palko beat out Joe Flacco for the starting job, and since he didn't want to sit behind him, he transferred to the University of Delaware.
Yeah, I would have gotten that.
The elite. Question number 2. I went to the same Texas high school as quarterback Nick Foles. Although I'm a bit older.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is the correct answer. Ding!
I remember that was a big thing back when they played in the playoffs.
Yeah, it sure was. I was at that game. Miserable. Question number 3. Tom has 1 correct. Question number 3. He needs 2 more to get the point. Both my high school and college football teams were the Fighting Irish.
Is it Deshaun Kaiser?
Ding! Deshaun Kaiser is the correct answer. Deshaun Kaiser went to high school in Ohio and played for the Fighting Irish Catholic High School.
Is there any other Notre Dame starting quarterbacks besides
There
him?
are not.
Okay.
And he also went to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in South Bend, Indiana.
No more Brady Quinn.
Question number 4. At Helix High School, Reggie Bush was the starting running back, and I was the starting quarterback.
Philip Rivers.
That is incorrect. Philip Rivers is a Southern boy. We were looking for the California kid Alex Smith, who you guessed incorrectly on the first question. So, question number 5. Tom, you have to get this right to get the point for the week and go up a point on Bill. I have a career 297 pass touchdowns with a yearly average of 24.8. My career best was 2011, the year, with 45 pass touchdowns.
To Aaron Rodgers?
It is, in fact, Aaron Rodgers. Tom, good job. You get the point. You can't see the excitement on Tom's face, but it's there. He's up a point.
Gave a little fist pump right there, too.
He had the fire in his eyes like Tom Brady. All right. Now we'll get into a segment that we're going to do weekly that plays into fantasy football, right? It's what we love. It's what we talk about. It's what we're all about.
What we do.
I'm in 5 cash leagues this year, and man, it's a lot of work.
3.
So, what we'll do is we'll take turns, each of us, naming 5 players from the following positions: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense special teams per standard leagues, 5 play hims, and 5 stay him at home. Play him or stay him at home. Brought to you by the 2 idiots sitting here. You're welcome. So we'll actually start with me for the play him, and then for the stay him at home, we'll start with Tom. But for the play him at quarterback, this week's play hims for me. Big Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm bucking the trend here. He has a career average 13 points a game against the Cleveland Browns, and he had an 8-point game last year against the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to say buck the trend. He's got Martavis back, Bryant back, Le'Veon Bell back. Ooh, so much going on.
And obviously
Antonio Brown. Give me Big Ben against the Browns. Play him without fear. Derek Carr. I love Derek Carr this season. I think he's going to have a great year against the Tennessee Titans secondary. He should feast. Give me Derek Carr to Amari Cooper all day. Kirk Cousins. The Philadelphia Eagles leave something to be desired at corner. Yes, I love the Eagles, but I can also be realistic. Kirk Cousins is a very safe and valuable play this week, provided he remembers how to play football. Andy Dalton. The Baltimore Ravens defense is really good on the secondary as far as the safeties are concerned, but they're more box safeties. I mean, Eric Weddle does a little bit of everything, but Tony Jefferson will be down in the box all the time. Give me Andy Dalton to A.J. Green over Jimmy Smith any day of the week. And then my number 5 quarterback, play him this week, is Marcus Mariota, who should also have a really good game against the Oakland Raiders secondary. Still some concerns and questions up in the air about Sean Smith, starting corner for the Oakland Raiders, a potential domestic abuse case going on there. Not really sure what's going to happen. And rookie first-round pick corner Garyon Conley has not played this preseason. So
Obi Melifonwu's out too.
And Obi Melifonwu is on injured reserve. They plan to bring him back should he come back healthy. So, UConn player. So, Marcus Mariota, get some.
Okay.
At running back, give me Dalvin Cook, who I think is going to have a really good year. I was really low on Dalvin Cook, and you'll remember that if you've been listening to the podcast. But, man, he's looked good, and he hasn't fumbled the ball yet in preseason. So, one big side note for Dalvin Cook is the fact that he's looked so fluid in pass protection. Rookies typically struggle with pass protection, and he's looked good, which is going to be a key factor for Sam Bradford getting the ball to Adam Thielen. Devontae Freeman, it may seem obvious, but Devontae Freeman against the Chicago Bears should have himself a good game. I wouldn't worry about Tevin Coleman too much eating into his carries. Devontae Freeman is currently the highest paid running back in the NFL. LaShawn McCoy, I do like him this week against the New York Jets. They're pretending to be a football team. Todd Gurley against the Indianapolis Colts. They look like they can't stop just anything. The floodgates are open. I would say play any running back who's playing the Indianapolis Colts at all this year. And last but not least, I'm actually going to throw a start him, play him this week for Ezekiel Elliott. Get him while it's hot, because he's going to be sitting the pine for 6 weeks.
Unless the judge...
I don't want to hear it.
The judge says...
Wide receiver, Martavis Bryant. I think a lot of attention is paid to Antonio Brown, but Martavis Bryant should have himself a good week in his return. I think they're going to try to get him involved early and often, and with Jamar Taylor being the only NFL caliber corner to actually be playing for the Cleveland Browns right now, I like Martavis Bryant against Brian Beatty Calhoun.
What's his face? McCourty.
Yeah, he hasn't been running with the ones.
They named him a starter.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, good for him. Kelvin Benjamin. I like Kelvin Benjamin against the fake corners of the San Francisco 49ers. I need not say anything else. He's looked really good this preseason, and he does look like he's slimmed down. Brandon Marshall against the Cowboys. They are probably the only team with worse corners than the Jets or the Niners. So get yourself Brandon Marshall. I think he's a great red zone target, and I think since a lot of attention will be paid to Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Marshall is a great play. Amari Cooper, we talked about Derek Carr being on the play him. Get Amari Cooper in there. Run him out there with your ones. And last but certainly not least, the guy I've been stumping for all podcast, Adam Thielen. Get yourself a game against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans. Tight end, Zach Ertz has historically dominated the Redskins. He's had actually, I believe, 2 10-plus catch games against them, and 2 of his last 3 games have been for over 100 yards against the Washington Redskins. Play yourself Zach Ertz. He's going to really pay dividends this week. Up next, I have Delaney Walker. Oakland's got a problem at linebacker. They even just cut one of their starters. Get yourself Delaney Walker in that starting lineup. Kyle Rudolph against the Saints. He is Sam Bradford's security blanket. Jimmy Graham against the Packers. I like Jimmy Graham to have a pretty good year, so go ahead and start him against the Packers. They're not excellent at coverage when it comes to linebackers. Obviously, they have some pretty decent safeties, especially in Clinton Dix, but I like Jimmy Graham this week against the Pack. Hashin Clinton Dix. And as a sneaky play at play him, give me Evan Engram against the pretend Cowboys defense. They are really hurting. They have nothing there. Tom can make faces at me all he wants, but he knows it's true.
And Byron Jones.
Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Tight end coverage right there.
Yeah. Not with Brandon Marshall out there as well. So I like Evan Engram as a sneaky play him this week. And last but certainly not least, at defense and special teams, give me the Rams against the Colts, who are pretending to have an offense with Scott Tolzien. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers have historically eaten up rookie quarterbacks, as they will be facing this week in DeShone Kizer. Give me the Houston defense against the Jacksonville Jaguars and Blake Bortles. Give me the Falcons against the Bears, who probably won't score more than 14 points unless Jordan Howard goes off. And then give me the Carolina Panthers against the sort of unknown San Francisco 49ers offense. I just like them in that matchup. Tom, who you playing?
I'm going to go a lot quicker than you did.
That's fine.
I have, like the same as you, I have Big Ben versus Cleveland.
Bucking the trend. I like it.
Yeah. Number 2, actually, you might enjoy this a little bit. Eli
Elijah.
I believe in Eli.
I believe in Eli.
Against Dallas, I'll admit their secondary play leaves something
to be desired.
Yeah, so. But, they could get better as the year goes on. You never know, but definitely week 1.
Anthony Brown.
With all the weapons Eli has. Number 3, I got Mariota versus Oakland. I think that game's going to be high scoring, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it should be.
So, he's a good young quarterback. They added some talent at wide receiver for him, so.
Corey Davis, not on a snap count.
Go throw it. Number 4, I have Carson Palmer versus Detroit. Detroit's
no love for Darius Slay.
I mean, that's pretty much all they have in their secondary.
Good point.
So I like him.
Miles Killebrew.
Yeah. Number 5, I got Derek Carr, the other half of that Tennessee-Oakland game. I think, like I said, it's going to be high
Should be a good game.
So I think both quarterbacks are good plays this week.
Yes, sir.
And I have both of them in the one league. In case you didn't
Is that like a little side note that no one cares about?
The league I'm going to beat you in this. Running back, I have DeMarco Murray versus Oakland. I mean, they obviously have one of the best linebackers / defensive ends, but after him, their linebacking core is a little shaky. So I think,
to say the least,
their front seven's gonna get a little pounded by DeMarco Murray. Number 2, I have Jordan Howard. Nobody else is going to get the ball for Chicago. 3, I also have LaShawn McCoy. The Jets are a joke, so. And LaShawn McCoy is pretty much the only good player on that Bills team, so good.
When Andre Holmes is a starting wide receiver, you've done something wrong.
It's a good matchup right there. Number 4, I also have Todd Gurley versus Indy. They really have no real good defense.
Yeah, and Eddie Jackson was placed on IR, one of their best young linebackers. Bleak in Indiana.
Number 5, I'm going to go with a rookie. I see Christian McCaffrey having a decent game against San Francisco. I think Stewart's still technically considered the starter,
yeah.
But I mean, Christian McCaffrey has been pretty electric in preseason. So
he has. He's looked really good.
I'm sure they're going to want to give him the ball. Wide receiver, I got Old Man Fitzgerald against Detroit.
I've got him in 2 leagues, Tom. Tell me it's true.
It's true. Play him.
Will do.
I mean, no matter what, whoever's playing quarterback for him, he still has pretty good years in year out.
University of Phoenix.
Yeah. Number 2, I also have Martavis Bryant. I think it's gonna be good for that Steelers offense to finally get him back. Hopefully he can stay the whole year.
Just stop smoking weed.
Yeah. Number 3, I have Stephon Diggs. Like you said, Adam Thielen did kind of take some of it away, but I think
Thielen's taking his thunder. I disagree with this pick.
I think with a little more offensive line help, Bradford's going to have a little more time to look for his receivers, get the ball to Diggs a little bit. Plus, New Orleans' defense is not very good. Number 4, I have Brandon Marshall in there too. If they both play, or him
You picked 2 Giants against the Cowboys, yet you've picked the Cowboys to win.
Yeah. But they'll probably keep as much.
Tell you what, Tom, I'll let you change your pick right now.
Nope. They'll probably put as much attention as possible on Odell Beckham, Brandon Marshall. He was a top 15 receiver in this league before really last year, but he played with turnover Fitzpatrick for most of the year. And
Fitzmagic.
Plus, I'm pretty sure he got hurt last year too.
He did.
And number 5, I also have Kelvin Benjamin. He showed up to OTAs, I think, overweight, but he dropped that pretty quick, and he's looked pretty good in this preseason. So if Cam Newton can get him that ball against a pretty poor Niners defense. Tight end, my number 1, I got Kyle Rudolph versus New Orleans. Him and Sammy Sleeves obviously have a little connection.
They do. I like that.
Like I just mentioned, New Orleans has a poor defense. Number 2, I have Delaney Walker against Oakland. He's going to be a big part of that shootout. I'm pretty sure it's in Tennessee. Number 3, I'm going to go with Austin Hooper versus Chicago.
I don't like that pick.
Why not?
Austin Hooper is going to want for targets. He's got to make the most of very limited targets in that offense.
Chicago's also has a pretty bad defense, so
yeah,
I'll play him. He's listed as the starting tight end right now. So
he is. He's a starting tight end. He's just still going to want for targets.
Number 4, my first Cowboy. I got Jason Witten. He usually has pretty solid games against the Giants. He doesn't put up huge fantasy numbers, but it seems like against the Giants, you can always count maybe like a touchdown, maybe 2 from him.
Maybe I'll bench Greg Olsen for him in my league.
Go for it, or throw him in your flex. Number 5, I have Jimmy Graham. Him and
Russell Wilson?
No, him and Doug Baldwin are probably going to be the 2 are pretty much the only guys really catching balls out there. There's nobody else really. Tyler Lockett can't really stay healthy.
Yeah. Paul Richardson.
And they just got rid of the great Jermaine Kearse. So.
Yeah. And they let that rookie go. I'm sorry, he actually wasn't a rookie.
The rookie everyone thought was a rookie was actually in the start.
Kalen Williams.
I think pretty sure he signed on with Cleveland. So.
They have 48 receivers.
None of them are good.
Yeah.
Defense, obvious right here. Los Angeles Rams versus Indy. Scott Tolzien will probably throw 8 picks. And then they'll throw in Jacoby Brissett because it will only be halftime.
I'm okay with that. I'm playing the Rams defense against you week 1 in my league.
Scott Tolzien will go off. Do not play Los Angeles. Number 2, I got Houston versus Jacksonville. Blake Bortles likes to throw to the other team.
Yet you picked the Jags.
Number 3, Jacksonville versus Houston. Tom Savage really doesn't really strike
the
fear.
pride of Delco.
He doesn't really strike fear into too many people.
The pride of Delco.
So, I think their front 7 is loaded, and they're just going to get constant pressure. They might actually miss Dwayne Brown in this game, surprising enough. Number 4, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Got a rookie quarterback, even though I do like him. They usually don't fare well against Pittsburgh. And number 5, Atlanta versus Chicago, because Mike Glennon. That's it.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Continuing your picks here, why don't you run rapid fire through your stay him at home?
I made this pretty easy. I just went with starting quarterback. Scott Tolzien, do not play. Obvious. Mike Glennon. His I think 3rd pass in a Buccaneers uniform went for a pick 6.
It's good to know.
Josh McCown, he has nobody to throw it to. I really hope you drafted you people out there drafted a quarterback early and you don't actually have any of these players. Number 4, Deshaun Kaiser. A lot of people, I saw a lot of people added him after he was named starter. Don't start him because, like I said, Pittsburgh and rookie quarterbacks don't really go well together. And number 5, Blake Bortles. He's playing one of the best defenses in the league, and as I just mentioned, he likes to throw to the other team. So, unless you somehow get points for Blake Bortles, touchdowns to other teams, do not.
That'd be a cool league.
Yeah, that would be different. I mean, you would probably draft Blake Bortles in first round.
Yeah, I like this.
Running back number 1, Jeremy Hill. While he was named the starter, they have too many guys down there. 2, Lamar Miller versus Jacksonville. Like I said, their front 7 is loaded, so stay away from that. Number 3, Rob Kelly. He's shown some flashes here and there, but he hasn't really been consistent, and the Eagles also have a very good front 7. Number 4, Frank Gore. I feel like the Rams are going to load the box.
733 years old.
Well, I don't even think it has nothing to do with age. I just think the Rams are going to load the box because Scott Tolzien can't throw. And number 5, while he's the biggest name in their backfield, he's also the biggest player, Eddie Lacy. Do not start him.
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, Tom, you got a wide receiver for stay him at home.
I actually forgot to do the wide receivers. For some reason, I wrote
that's delightful.
I wrote my tight ends in my receiver.
Well, we pretty much agree on running back. I did want to throw in there that I would probably sit Kareem Hunt and all of the Patriots running backs. And then as far as quarterbacks, I would sit Phillip Rivers. I would also sit Matt Stafford against the Cardinals D. At wide receiver, I would sit T.Y. Hilton because of the great Scott Tolzien of Wisconsin. Probably not going to get it done. I would sit Sammy Watkins, who still isn't up to speed in the playbook. Keenan Allen against Chris Harris Jr. is not a favorable matchup. I would also sit Allen Robinson against the Houston Texans defense, and then also Tyreek Hill, who has looked pretty dismal in the preseason. I'll kick it back over to Tom for tight ends.
For tight ends, Martellus Bennett, while he's kind of gotten a lot of hype this offseason, Green Bay doesn't really utilize their tight ends. Plus Seattle, they have a good linebacking core and good safeties. which are usually used to guard the tight ends. Number 2, Antonio Gates. I feel like he's going to lose snaps.
He needs one touchdown to break the record of Tony Gonzalez, and it would be great if he just walked off the field, went into the locker room, and just retired when he got the one touchdown.
That would be different.
Awesome.
I think he's going to lose a lot of snaps to Hunter Henry, who's clearly more athletic
Absolutely.
at this point in their careers.
I'm a big fan of Hunter Henry.
Number 3, I'm going to go Kobe Fleener. Everybody thought he was going to be him and Drew Brees were going to be a great matchup, but they just haven't really seemed to click.
Yeah.
Number 4, just for your dad, George Kittle.
George Kittle.
He's a rookie tight end, and rookie tight ends...
He is real.
He is real. But rookie tight ends don't really usually make much of an impact in their first year, so I would stay away from him. And number 5, Jack Doyle. Obviously, the whole Scott Tolzien situation. And that's all for my tight ends. So, yeah.
How about defense?
I have defenses, but one of them is not there because it was Miami. 2, Oakland.
Sounds unprepared, Tom.
Hey, I did this last night, and then I made dinner today, so I didn't have time. Number 2. Because my number 1
Yeah, I got that. If you're listening, he picked Miami as his number 1 don't play defense.
Yes. Number 2, I got Oakland versus Tennessee. Like I said before, it's going to be a shootout, so you'll probably lose points with that defense. Number 3, other half, Tennessee, don't play them. Number 4, Dallas versus New York Giants. Who knows if they'll really get pressure to be able to actually cover the receivers.
I don't recommend playing Dallas's defense a single game this year.
Unless they really start balling out. And then number 5, Detroit versus Arizona. For some reason, I'm just not high on Detroit this year.
Certainly not high on their defense. As far as tight ends go, I would say stay Charles Clay at home. I agree with Jack Doyle and Kobe Fleener. I would also stay Zach Miller at home, as I don't think Mike Glennon to the tight end is a
Julius
good.
Thomas isn't playing.
is a good matchup. And I also will advise all owners to stay Tyler Higbee at home all season, as he was clearly outplayed by Everett in that Rams offense. And then as far as defenses go, I would actually stay the Baltimore D at home against the Bengals, the Minnesota D against the Saints, so I think they'll have an okay game. You probably drafted them as your number 1 defense, and they will not give a return on investment in Week 1. Kansas City's defense against the Pats, definitely not a safe play. The Seahawks against the Packers, dangerous play. Another defense that probably went as the first defense off the board. Never start a defense against Aaron Rodgers. It's a bad look. And then, of course, the New York Giants. The Jets. They're pretending to be a football team.
The New York Jets. Just don't play the Giants or the Jets defense.
Yeah, don't play either. That actually works. I'll take it. Knock the socks off. Our next segment, Tom and I will give our bold predictions for the award winners for the 2017 NFL season. First up, MVP. I'm going to go Derek Carr. Do you agree, Tom?
I do agree.
I think Derek Carr has a big year. They have Super Bowl hopes, and I usually try not to buy into the hype, but I'm really feeling it for the Oakland Raiders.
I feel like he's going to become that borderline elite quarterback this year.
Yeah, absolutely. He may already be there. Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going to give to David Johnson. I think he'll have 1,200 rushing and maybe 700 receiving yards. He'll have a boatload of touchdowns. What do you think?
I agree with you on that one. I mean, he's pretty much the do-it-all guy for the Arizona Cardinals.
For the Cardinals. We're 2 for 2 on the same picks here. Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, will differ. I have Khalil Mack in what will be an epic, huge season for those
sacks.
for those Oakland Raiders. I don't know all about 30 sacks, but I'll have him going back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year.
I actually have Joey Bosa, the second-year defensive end. He
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Dominant in his rookie season, and
Did he?
Yes, he did.
He did.
And he even missed multiple games. So if he can put together 16 games, I think he could be up around that 20 sack mark.
The Dallas Cowboys are very famously noted for having wanted Joey Bosa. Given the opportunity right now, Joey Bosa or Zeke Elliott, who are you taking?
Zeke.
Even with all of the off-field issues?
We wouldn't have even been close to the playoffs last year without Zeke.
Got to think long-term, buddy. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with a player that I kind of crapped on throughout the draft process and after the draft. I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to have a lot of catches and a lot of carries, and he's going to be on the field for a lot of snaps due to his ability to pass protect, as I mentioned earlier. Tom, what do you think?
I'm right with you on that one. I mean, it's really between him or Fournette. They're really the only guys that look like they're going to.
Yeah, I wasn't buying the hype out of Florida State. For me, I watched him fumble the ball so many times as a purveyor of college football, but he's looked good in that purple offense.
He's definitely earned that starting role.
He sure has. Made Latavius Murray an afterthought. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Jamal Adams, the safety for the New York Jets. I think just due to the sheer lack of talent on that Jets defense, I think he's going to have over 100 tackles, and I think he's going to be a stat stuffer kind of a player. They're going to get their butt whooped week in and week out, but I think Jamal Adams is a stat stuffer, and he ends up with Defensive Rookie of the Year, provided he plays all 16 games.
And I'm going to go with T.J. Watt on this one.
T.J. Watt, recently named starter.
Exactly. I mean, if you can beat out James Harrison, who's just a freak athlete, I mean...
Yeah, the guy's like 38 and still lifting more than I'll ever imagine lifting. Like, it physically pains me to think about lifting that much weight.
I mean, it's got to be said something if he can overtake him. And obviously you have your, Myles Garrett, Solomon Thomas, and Jamal Adams, like you noted, but I just feel like those teams are just going to be pretty crappy, so they won't really get as much of the love as. Yeah,
mine was purely Jamal Adams being a stat stuffer. I do like your pick, just it's wrong. And head coach of the year, I'm gonna go with Gamblin' Jack Del Rio, the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. I think Oakland makes some serious noise and really competes for that Super Bowl this season, and Jack Del Rio gets the credit he deserves for turning that Oakland program around.
And I'm going to go with the hype down in Florida. Take Dirk Cutter.
Tampa
Bay. I like what they got going on down there. Jameis Winston's a very good young quarterback. They're obviously they loaded up on offense, and they added some good pieces to their defense. Yeah,
just really concerned about their running game in Tampa. That's something to look out for. But I do like the pick, Dirk Cutter. If you watch Hard Knocks, you'll know that he's an interesting head coach. Kind of blends the line between players coach and disciplinarian. So it'll be good to see, provided they win a bunch of games. It's that NFC South, so different teams are always winning that division. So, go Tampa. Our next segment is the Habanero Dips. We are going to make some bold predictions here. I'm going to give you 2 bold predictions relating to teams as a whole, and 2 bold predictions for individual players. And then, Tom, you will rebut with the same. Sound fair?
I can do that.
Let's do it. First, Team Habanero Dip. I'm going to say the Chiefs win 11 games this season and make the playoffs as the wild card, meaning Oakland wins 12 or more games this season. My second Habanero Dip bold prediction here is that the Cowboys drop to 7-9 this season. As far as individual players go, I'm going to say that Jay Cutler wins himself 10 games down in South Beach and makes the Pro Bowl. My second individual player, Habanero Dip, will be that Todd Gurley leads the NFL in rushing yards.
It's a bold one right there.
That's a bold one. Tom, over to you.
My teams, I have Minnesota will finish with both a top 10 offense and defense.
That's a good one.
Obviously, they have a really good defense, so that's very plausible for them.
That's taking your belief in Dalvin Cook as Rookie of the Year and adding on to it, and I like it. You're a bold man.
Plus, I just think they actually helped that offensive line a little bit compared to what it was last year.
Yeah.
So I just think that'll help the offense as a whole. Number 2, or my second one, the 2 worst teams from last year, being Cleveland and San Francisco, will both finish with 6+ wins this year.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hey, that's what I think. They had 3 wins between them, going up to 12. That's not 9-win difference combined. My players, I'm also on the Jay Cutler train. I think he will finish the season as a top 10 quarterback.
Sounds like it might be a ghost pepper dip.
And I kind of base that off both as a top 10 fantasy quarterback and with a top 10 QBR.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second one, 2 out of the top 3 quarterbacks taken from the 2004 draft, that being Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Big Ben. 2 of them will retire at the end of this season.
That's bold. That one's bold. I might buy Big Ben, but I'm not buying the other two.
No, Eli's just, his arm looks like it's giving away.
Yeah, he's looked off. Yeah, so there you have it. Right? We talked week 1 game predictions. We gave you fantasy advice, all for free.
Yeah. I mean,
And
you could pay us if you wanted to.
You could. We gave you some predictions on award winners. We gave you some hot and spicy dips, some big bold predictions.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl ring. No, we're having fun, right? We're talking football, and that's what we love to do, and we're really excited for this season. I hope all of these come true, and we'll continue to check in on our predictions throughout the season and make fun of each other when they don't come true.
Updated standings every week.
Our standings, our power rankings, whatever you want to call them.
No, I meant like our standings based off.
Oh yeah, our win-loss records, so you know who's going to get humiliated. So you can check the website for, either a video or a photo, whatever will come out of. The other two will collaborate and come up together as a team. It's a team building exercise, is really what it is. For the humiliation to come for the two different events at the end of the season. But before we go, I did want to talk a little bit about college football. College football is also back, and I myself, I'm so dedicated to football. It's all I do on the weekends, right? I watch college football all day Saturday. I watch NFL football all day Sunday. You got Monday Night Football. You got Thursday Night Football. Football everywhere. Give me football. I want more football. Football. Super Bowl ring. So, I just want to mention a couple games, right? I'm a big Vols fan. I almost made it an entire podcast without talking about the Vols. I had to.
I did mention Peyton Manning. So
you did. Vols are all over the place. You mentioned Jason Witten. He's also a Vol. So the Tennessee Volunteers in that Monday night showdown against Georgia Tech and their triple option offense went to double overtime and finished at 42-41 Tennessee on a goal line stuffing 2-point conversion against Georgia Tech. They stopped Georgia Tech on the 2-point conversion to win the game in what was a real thriller.
Didn't they block a kick just to get it to overtime?
They did. They blocked a game-winning field goal attempt from 39 yards out and sent the game to overtime and won in double overtime. It was a lot of fun. And running back Jonathan Kelly looks like he can be a real stud for the Vols offense. And then Marquez Callaway stepped up, and they combined for 6 touchdowns in the game. So the Vols have some promising young players on offense. They'll probably have to do something about that quarterback situation. Dormandy looked okay, but we'll see what happens. Other news, Penn State, number 6 ranked Penn State, beat the Zips of Akron 52-0, and man, Barkley is going to be a good NFL running back. Mm-hmm. He looked like a monster, and he can lift weights with defensive linemen. He's a freak. Number 23, Texas, lost to Maryland 51-41, which was funny and hilarious to watch. USC beat Western Michigan 49-31, number 4 ranked USC. And Sam Darnold really struggled, the potentially projected number 1 overall pick. He went 23 out of 33 for 289 and 2 picks with no touchdowns passing. So keep an eye on that. In addition to that, the number 2 projected quarterback in Josh Allen of Wyoming also struggled mightily. Also, probably the funniest play I've seen in years, Wyoming's punter completely missed. He whiffed on a punt, which was hilarious and provides hours of entertainment. Looking ahead to next week in matchups for college that I want to watch.
Josh Rosen, man. I forgot about that game.
No one cares about UCLA. Matchups for me for next week. Pitt Panthers at Penn State. Nittany Lions at 3:30 on Saturday. Number 4 ranked Penn State. They jumped USC in the rankings, thanks to USC kind of struggling a little bit against a Western Michigan program, and Penn State thoroughly handled the Akron Zips. Indiana State at the Vols. I'm a Vols fan. I will always follow the Vols. They remained at number 25. That game is at 4 p.m. on September 9th. And then number 14, Stanford versus number 6, USC at 8:30 p.m. on 9/9. I think this will be a real test for USC. They struggled a little bit against Western Michigan, so let's see how they handle a top 20 ranked opponent this coming weekend. How about you, Tom? Any college football on the docket for Saturday?
Nope.
Tom is actually getting ready for his honeymoon. Mm-hmm. Tom won't be with us next week.
I will not.
He'll be somewhere in the water on a cruise ship.
Hopefully dodging that hurricane.
Dodging the hurricane. So good luck, Tom. We pray for your safety.
Nah, it should be fine. It hits like today or tomorrow. We don't leave till Sunday. So
there you go.
There might not be an
now
island.
You know exactly where Tom will be.
There might not be an island, but we'll still be on the boat.
There you go. So we wish Tom all the best on his honeymoon, and I hope he has a fun time. Then, of course, I did want to mention this is also fall is a beautiful season. It's wonderful. Football's back. Weather starts getting really nice. Everyone gets really excited. It's happy. But it's pumpkin spice season. You may roll your eyes all you want, but it is pumpkin spice season.
That's it.
Pumpkin pie is delicious. But I want to give a shout out to pumpkin beer, as I've been ingesting a few during the podcast here. I'm currently on the Unita Pumpkin Ale, one of 12 different pumpkin beers that I purchased this week to find my pumpkin starter for the week.
How did the cashier look at you when they realized you had 12 different pumpkin?
She was delighted, and she talked to me about pumpkin beers and which ones were her favorite. So thank you very much, Tom. But that's where I stand. My favorite is the New Belgium Pump Kick. But if you're a pumpkin beer fan, be sure to send us an email. We can talk beer another time. That'll about do it for our show this week. We had a really good time. We're really excited to be back to football. Tom here as always. I'm Dylan, your host. Make sure you check us out on Instagram and Twitter at DBC_football, on the web at www.dbcfootball.com, DBC Football on YouTube, and, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, have a good time, look out for us, and we'll have more to come. So check back in with us next week. We'll review Week 1 of the 2017 NFL season. We're really looking forward to it. And I hope your fantasy team wins unless it's playing mine.
Which I am playing you in two.
So Tom will have 2 losses in 2 weeks. When he's back, I'll be sure to gloat and rub it in his face.
We shall see.
So thanks again for joining us. Like I said, I'm Tom. He's Dylan.
No.
No?
That is not correct. I'm Tom. You're Dylan.
Darn it. I was so close. I'm Dylan. He's Tom. That's better.
That works. It makes more sense.
And thanks for joining. DBC Football Podcast, episode number 19.